Tonight on Murrow News 8, some big news for K-12 schools in Washington.
Learn how communities are trying to stay positive while staying at home. Murrow News 8 starts now.
Murrow News 8 starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ariel Yacobazi.
And I'm Zach Miller. Welcome back to Murrow News 8.
Governor Jay Inslee announced today that all private and public schools across Washington state will be closed for the remainder of the school year. Inslee said, quote, "All schools will continue distance learning through the end of the school year. We know the value of school and the power of learning, and we are nervous about that," end quote. Inslee also addressed that the health of everyone comes first and foremost, and these decisions are made for everyone to stay safe. WSU spring commencement is postponed, but students have two options in how they want to participate. According to the WSU Updates Coronavirus COVID-19 website, the traditional spring commencement for the WSU Pullman campus has been postponed to August 8th. Other campuses will announce their new dates soon. A second option for graduates is set to happen on May 9th. There will be a system-wide commencement online. WSU Pullman President Kirk Schultz invites people to email him with ideas to make graduation special for students.
According to the Moscow Pullman Daily News, a couple in the Palouse got an affordable house suited to their particular needs. Habitat for Humanity finished the house on March 26th for Rick and Roberta Kruger. Since Roberta uses a motorized wheelchair to get around, the house was made specifically for her in mind. The house has lower countertops and wheelchair-accessible shower. It also contains a big enough laundry room for her to move around in, which was one of her main requests.
According to the Spokesman Review, Amazon will be donating 8,200 laptops to help Seattle public schools and their students who need access to online learning. This donation also kickstarted a new fund called the Education Equity Fund, where businesses and community groups will be able to further donate to help students who do not have access to a device at home during the COVID-19 crisis. Tonight, we have Murrow News 8 reporter Caitlin Rappel with us. Caitlin, isolating at home can be difficult and lonely at times, especially during times like these.
I agree, Ariel. It can be very hard, but there are also many ways people are finding positivity. My very own neighborhood is doing something special, so I decided to take a closer look.
This may look like a regular neighborhood, and it is. But if you look closer, you'll notice some houses have teddy bears in their windows. I spoke with resident Eileen Hodgkiss about the teddy bears. She said that urges create conversation and connection. She said it's a fun topic around the dinner table and gets kids to be more engaged when going outside.
You may notice an increase in people going on outdoor walks. Well, by putting a teddy bear in your window, you're adding a scavenger hunt element. The inspiration behind this, the children's book We're Going on a Bear Hunt.
I like walking around and seeing all the different kinds, but also during this time I kind of like knowing that even if it's a neighbor I don't know, but I see a teddy bear in the window, it's kind of brings us together as a community and helps us know that we're all in the same boat and we're in this together.
Eileen goes on to say that multiple act together communities and help direct care workers, such as making music at certain times, lighting candles. Mentions local examples above and beyond. In times like these, people are looking for ways to connect. So putting a teddy bear in your window just might be one of them. Caitlin Rappel, Murrow News 8.
Thanks, Caitlin, for that insight. Now, tell us more about what's going on in the world of sports today.
Thank you, Ariel. Well, Seattle is well represented on the NFL's 2010s All-Decade team with 5 Seahawks named. Marshawn Lynch, Bobby Wagner, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, and perhaps the highest honor, Pete Carroll. Only 2 head coaches were named to the All-Decade team, the other being Bill Belichick. In more NFL news, today they announced that the 2020 NFL Draft will be held virtually. This allows the NFL to be in compliance to the regulations put in place by the COVID-19 pandemic. The memo states, quote, "Our staff will carry out its responsibilities in the same way, operating in separate locations outside of our offices. And after consulting with medical advisors, we cannot identify an alternative that is preferable from a medical or public health perspective. Given the varying needs of clubs, the need properly to screen participants, and the unique risk factors that individual club employees may face." End quote. The coronavirus has also affected the golf world. The Open Championship became the first major since 1945 to be canceled. They plan on playing the 149th Open next year at Royal St. George's. Officials from Augusta National, the USGA, and the PGA of America announced in a joint statement today that the Masters will be postponed to November 12th through the 15th. The PGA Championship will be August 6th through the 9th, and the U.S. Open will be September 18th through the 21st. Now to Ariel and Sophia.
Thanks so much, Caitlin. With Jay Inslee's new order for K-12 school closures, high school sports will not be resuming for the rest of the school year. Reporter Sophia Canton joins us from her home in Port Orchard, Washington, with a special guest.
Thanks, Ariel. So yes, I'm here at home with my younger brother, Sam Canton, who is junior at our local high school. Governor Inslee just made the announcement a few hours ago, as you mentioned earlier, about in-person instruction for K-12 schools being canceled for the rest of the school year. So how are you feeling about this news, Sam?
Well, more than anything, I'm disappointed and mad. You never expect for a season to just be taken from you like that, and it's something that not a lot of people have ever had to deal with ever. And so, unlike college, where they get another year of eligibility, we are just getting the season taken from us, and we never get it back. And so, I'm not a senior, but I can't imagine being in their place right now.
And so along those lines of your baseball season being taken away, I know you've been training like you've been potentially going to be able to play later in the season. So how is training going to change or stay the same for you now?
Well, it won't change much just because I have select ball hopefully this summer that won't get canceled. And I just have to continue trying to better myself as an athlete, and all my teammates are doing the same, because we have football and basketball, and then like me and a lot of my teammates, we have a lot of goals to play after high school, so we just have to keep getting our bodies ready to play. So.
And on the lines of teammates, have you had any contact with your teammates since the news broke, and how are the seniors on your team dealing with it? Yeah,
so we were talking in the group chat pretty much right as it was happening with Governor Inslee, and we're a really close team. It's kind of unique in the state, and so we were just talking, and the seniors were just saying, just keep the SK baseball alive and just keep doing what you're doing. Underclassmen, you got to step up, and next year you're going to come out and you're going to win games. So yeah.
And so more on the student side of things, how is your high school reaching out to you guys and letting you know how at-home learning is going to take place after this?
They've mostly been emailing us and contacting us on Google Classroom. And we're not going to be doing any Zoom stuff like this. We'll be doing just kind of assignments given to us from our teachers virtually, and we just have to read everything. And so it's kind of unclear exactly how it's going to be for the next 2 months or whatever it is, but they'll figure it out, I'm sure.
Alrighty, well, thank you for answering questions with us tonight. Obviously, this isn't the outcome you were expecting or hoping for, but according to Jay Inslee, the safety and health of our state is the #1 priority. So that's all we have here in Port Orchard. Back to you, Ariel.
Thanks so much, Sophia and Sam, for joining us today. According to CNBC, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson was moved into the intensive care unit after his coronavirus symptoms worsened. Johnson was admitted Sunday evening at St. Thomas Hospital in London and was moved as a precautionary measure in case of needing ventilation. Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab will temporarily take over the Prime Minister's duties while Johnson is hospitalized.
Sorry about that. Now let's head back to Pullman, where our own Luke Hudson has a weather update. And it looks like it may be pretty nice for a few days. Is that true, Luke?
Thanks, Zach. And yes, it is true. This nice weather is going to show up just in time for us to all be in self-isolation, but it's still going to be pretty sunny for these next couple days. In the past few days, it's been kind of wet and cold here in Pullman with some rain and some snow, but that's about to change this week. Here in Pullman today, we saw a lot of clouds and a little bit of sun with a high of 54, and that'll dip down to about 35 tonight. We had winds coming in at about 9 miles an hour, and the sun will set at about 725. Moving on to a look at tomorrow, we'll have a similar temperature, a little bit higher, 57, almost up to 60, but that'll get warmer later in the week. We'll have wind about 9 to 16 miles an hour, and that may get up to as high as 25. Now, that's no real cause for concern. 25 isn't too high of a number as far as damages are, but it's something to keep in mind if you're going to be taking a walk to take a break from that self-isolation. The sun will set at about 7:26 p.m. And rising similar time at around 6:15. Now let's take a look at our state map. Over on the west side, where some of the WSU students are now scattered, we have Seattle and Olympia with highs of just about 60. There in the upper 50s, dipping down into the upper 30s and low 40s. Closer to the middle of the state, we have Yakima and Tri-Cities, always with nicer temperatures with 65 and 66, dipping down into 36 and 39 respectively for those lows. Just north of us in Pullman, we have Spokane with a high of 55, low of 36, and Pullman again 54 and 35. Now let's take a look at the 5-day forecast. So you'll see, right away, Tuesday through Friday, we'll have a lot of sun with some partial sun on Tuesday and Friday. Nice temperatures getting above 60 from Wednesday through Friday. And that's thanks to a nice high-pressure ridge that's moving across the Pacific Northwest. Now, a high-pressure ridge is, with an area of high pressure, it basically pushes air away from it. So air is going to be moving from high-pressure areas to low-pressure areas. And that's keeping a lot of the clouds out of the sky, and one of the reasons why you're going to see a lot of sun if you're still here in Pullman. Saturday, that might change a little bit, where we'll have a 30% chance of precipitation. That'll be mostly in the morning. And that about wraps it up for our forecast. Thanks so much, and back to you, Ariel.
Thanks so much, Luke, for that weather update. Be sure to get outside and get some fresh air during this self-isolation. Some good news for a WSU student coming from Pullman Radio News. On Tuesday night, that's tomorrow, April 7th, WSU junior Keenan Suve's Wheel of Fortune episode is scheduled to air at 7:30 on KHQ6. Be sure to tune in and support a fellow Coug. That's all we have from us today here at Murrow News 8.
You can watch us live on YouTube every weekday at 5:30.
News content can still be found at nwpb.org/MN8. And don't forget to follow us on social media.
Have a good night. Stay home and stay healthy.